Hey guys, welcome to Red 50. Thank you for tuning into another video. If you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. So in today's video, we are going to be reviewing the 2020 Mustang Ecoboost Premium, which is a convertible. This 2020 Mustang Ecoboost Premium Convertible is part of the S550 Mustang, which came out from 2015 and up. And this is a refresh model, as you can tell by the headlights, that came from 2018 model year. In this video, we're going to be covering the exterior, interior, the performance of the Mustang Ecoboost, and the handling as well. I'm really excited to be reviewing this 2020 Mustang Ecoboost convertible. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. The 2020 Mustang Ecoboost is powered with a 2.3 four-cylinder turbo engine that makes 310 horsepower and 350 foot-pound of torque. It will do 0 to 60 in about 5.1 seconds and the quarter mile in 13.1 seconds. And since this is a four-cylinder turbo engine, as far as your gas mileage is concerned, you are going to get 21 city and 32 highway, which in my opinion is very impressive for a Mustang Ecoboost. It does take premium to be able to utilize the full 310 horsepower we talked about. If you don't have full premium on, it will reduce the power to, I believe, 280 or 290 horsepower, which you may not notice in the street, but definitely if you're on the track or drag strip. Okay, so let's start off with the exterior of this 2020 Mustang Ecoboost Premium. So like I said, this is a refresh model, as you can tell by the headlights. The entire front fascia is completely new. You've got these functional hood vents that are standard in Ecoboost and GTs now, which in my opinion look amazing. Coming down, you've got the pony logo, which is chrome here, with a honeycomb grille. And as far as headlights, you've got LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, and also LED fog lights. Coming down below, you've got this chin spoiler, which in my opinion really completes the aggressive front fascia that we've got going on here. I have to be honest, when these first came out, I wasn't the biggest fan of the front fascia on the 2018 and up refresh models, but it really has grown on me, and I think it looks very aggressive compared to the 2015 and 2017 ones. Okay, so now coming onto the side, there's not much going on. There is no badging here. If this was a high performance pack Ecoboost, it would have the 2.3 badge. But other than that, there's nothing here. Now let's move on to the rear side of the things. You've got a little decklet spoiler. Since it's black, it kind of blends in. And you've got your pony emblems. That's how you can know it's an Ecoboost. If it was a GT, it would have a GT on it. You've got these awesome looking LED tail lights, which are sequential as expected. And you've got the dual exhaust in this Ecoboost as opposed to quad exhaust that you can get on Ecoboost now if you have the optional active exhaust, which my tester doesn't have. You've got the standard 18-inch rims on it that are wrapped in these 235/50/18 tires. Obviously, since we got a convertible, we've got this soft top right here, which in my opinion makes for an amazing driving experience when the top is down. All right, now let's move on to the interior side of things. You come up with standard keyless entry. So you just put your hand behind this handle. It's gonna unlock the car. And these are your touch sensors to lock the car. All right, so as you enter in, like I said, this is a premium. So it comes with the standard leather seats, which in my opinion are very, very comfortable, especially if you plan on doing a lot of road trips in your Mustang Ecoboost. You're gonna be very comfortable during those road trips. This is a Mustang Ecoboost Premium, not the 201A package. Just missing the digital dash here, which in my opinion is well worth it if you're in the market for it. But we'll cover some of the customization option on this standard gauge as well. So you've got your auto headlights here, which is pretty much expected from this segment. And you've got your dimmer here and your fog lights here as well. This does not come with the memory seating, but you got your standard lock here. And so that this is a convertible, we've got the rear window control switch as well, and your standard mirror options. And then we got the steering wheel that are mounted with paddle shifters, which really make this car insanely fun to drive. And the good thing is these are standard in all Ecoboost, so even if you don't get a premium, you have these. And of course, we've got the standard steering wheel mounted controls. You got your volume, the buttons to control the screen in the middle, you got cruise control, and your phone controls as well. The steering wheel is nicely wrapped in leather, so it's got a nice grip to it, very comfortable. And moving on to here, our tester is equipped with the 10-speed automatic transmission, which in my opinion is an amazing transmission, especially for the GT, but for the Ecoboost as well. It keeps you in the power band and keeps your revs very low for your gas mileage. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start the car and get you some of the revs too. The Mustang Ecoboost actually pumps in noise through the speakers into the cabin, which I feel like is very fake and you can easily tell, but from the outside it's not all that bad. I kind of wish Ford didn't decide to pump it, because everyone who's buying this knows it's a 4-cylinder Mustang, and normally 4-cylinders don't really sound that great. So the fact that they pump in the noise through the speakers just seems very fake, and for a car enthusiast you're easily able to tell. Maybe for a non-car enthusiast they like having a little bit of sound pumped in, but for us we can easily spot out that this is pretty fake. It kind of ruins the experience. Alright, so we are going to operate the convertible top, which makes it a very fun drive. So up here you're going to locate these two buttons. We're going to press this, but first we have to make sure that this is unlocked. And once we hold this, the windows start rolling down and the top starts coming down. Although I'm not a huge fan of the soft top look, but this looks absolutely amazing and you just cannot deny that. Once the convertible top is down, you're gonna have a lot of fun driving this thing around, just feeling the air breeze and everything. Okay, so now let's go back to the interior, and I want to show you one of the coolest features that the 2020 Mustang Ecoboost has to offer in its interior. This, in my opinion, is the coolest feature of any Mustang interior, these toggle switches. They just look very, very cool, and that's a very unique touch to your Mustang interior. You've got your hazards here, then you've got your traction control on or off, and then you've got your different steering modes, and then you've got a mode selector. Of course, you've got one USB port here, and then you've got your standard charger here as well. And you've got a standard dual climate zone here with the heated and ventilated seats for driver and passenger, which is, in my opinion, very neat to have. And then we've got your standard HVAC controls. I do like the fact that they still retain the physical control as opposed to touchscreen that most manufacturers are doing. And you've got your volume knob and the tune button right here. And this is equipped with the Ford Sync 3 infotainment system, which in my opinion is a very responsive system. It's very basic and easy to understand, and it pretty much gets what you need to do. And it does obviously have the Apple CarPlay. You've got your standard audio options. You can connect your phone via Bluetooth or listen to the radio or XM. And then obviously you can plug in your phone here to get USB as well. There's your climate control. Like I said, this is auto climate control, dual climate control. Compressor here, and you can pretty much touch it and change the temperature however you want. I personally prefer using these controls. They're much quicker to deal with than these touchscreen controls. And you can hook up your phone as well, the standard phone connectivity options. You also have the option to add apps once your phone is connected. And they've got other bunch of settings and variation that you can kind of change. So you've got equalizer and your sound, and then how you want the clock. There's a dark mode and a daytime mode as well. And you've got general settings for your vehicle as well. Love this AC vent design. It looks very retro. And then here we've got Mustang 55 years, as this is a 2020 model. And previous model they just said Mustang, so I kind of like how they added the 55 years. In terms of the speaker, this is equipped with the 9-speaker system. So you got a tweeter here, you got one door speaker and one woofer down here, and then you've got 2 speakers in the back, and you've got your voice speaker right here. Okay, so now let's talk about the gauge. So you've got your standard analog gauges for your RPM and your speedo, but Ford does offer a customizable screen that's 4.3 inch screen right here. This is controlled via these buttons that we earlier talked about. Okay, so this is your main menu. You've got different gauge modes here that it will tell you the transmission oil, engine oil, inlet air temperature, and all that stuff. The cool part is if you press on any of these, it will show you actual gauge, which looks really cool, especially if you're a track, you just really want to monitor some of these temperatures. And then we've got the trip fuel, which is pretty standard stuff. You can add the trips. Then you got track apps, which Ford suggests to try it only on track, but you've got line lock, which pretty much lets you do a burnout, brake performance, acceleration timer. Best part about all of these is, like, if I hit this one, for example, and I want to do 0 to 60, it's going to do an automatic start. So as soon as I hit the gas and the speed starts climbing up, it's going to start running the timer, so you don't have to worry about like 0.1 or 2 second difference as you're doing it. And you got some of the driver assist technology here as well, so auto engine off if your car's been running for too long but you're not really driving anywhere, and then rear park aid, because this does come with the rear parking sensors. And then you just got settings where you can customize pretty much everything in this car. So this is your light, the LED lights that is going to be in your cup holders. And then you can also set up my color, which is, in my opinion, a very, very useful feature. So you've got ambient light that you can select the color for. But you also got the halos that you can customize. Is during the daytime, it's not gonna let me do it, but essentially this whole ring around the gauge can be one color, and the gauge itself can be one color, which is very cool and lights up. It really sets the mood for the interior. And of course, we've got the back seats as well, but they're barely usable, like I've mentioned in my other Mustang videos. It's good enough for a short trip, but if you're going to be doing a long trip or like a road trip, maybe if you have kids, they can probably sit there, but any adult is not going to have a fun time being in those back seats, as it's pretty cramped and your head kind of hits against the top. Okay, so now let's talk about the performance of this 2020 Mustang Ecoboost. Like I said, we'll do 0 to 60 in 5.1 seconds and the quarter mile in 13.7 seconds. But how does it all translate into real world performance? The good thing is that since it's a turbo 4, it has tons of low end torque, and the power starts as soon as 2000 RPM. But obviously the downside of that is the power also dies quickly. So even though the engine's red line is 6500 RPM, the power kind of falls flat around 5500 RPM. I did notice some of the turbo lag in my case, because if I am getting on the gas, there are times where the car thinks for a moment, as I guess the turbo is spooling up, before it really picks up and goes. That can, in my opinion, be a little bit annoying, that if you're not expecting to floor it and you just get on the gas, it will think for a little bit, turbo's not spooled up, it's just going to feel like a regular 4-cylinder. It's happened very infrequently, so it kind of takes away from the fun, because when you want to get on the gas, you want instant response like a naturally aspirated engine. But for this, unfortunately, that doesn't work. Sometimes there is a turbo lag that you have to deal with, because once you remove the turbo, it's only a 4-cylinder car. However, if you have the car in sport or sport plus modes on the street, it makes an insanely fun experience, because it always tries to keep you in the power band, which means the turbo is pulled up and you're ready to go. As soon as you give gas, you instantly feel the push back to your seats. The great thing about it is, like I mentioned, it does come with the paddle shifter standards. So the paddle shifters, you have complete control over your car. The paddle shifter response in this Mustang Ecoboost is very good. It's pretty responsive, makes for a very fun drive on the back roads, and if you just want to take control of the RPMs by yourself. Driving at just a normal or D mode, D selector on your automatic transmission equipped Ecoboost feels very sluggish and isn't really fun to drive. So you have to drive this in sport, sport plus mode, or use paddle shifters when you want to have some fun, because leaving it in drive is going to be boring. Even if you're putting a lot of gas, or even if you're like trying to floor it, the response is a little bit laggy and you don't feel the instant power like you're supposed to. And also the fact that this car does not have a big V8 in the front, it actually helps with the weight distribution. So it's actually a little bit lighter than what you would get with the GT, and I personally have noticed it. The corners feels a little bit more tossable. It's not gonna be enough for day-to-day driving, but I'm pretty sure if you're tracking it or you're really pushing the car, you can really notice it. So what do I think of the 2020 Mustang Ecoboost Premium Convertible? I think it's a very great car. It's got rear-wheel drive, 310 horsepower, very great performer, and gives very good gas mileage. The interior has improved a lot over the generation of the Mustang, and with the S550 Mustang, the interior is finally livable and something you are not ashamed of. With the S550 Mustang and getting the Turbo 4, yes, it still has a stigma to it, but when you've got a 0 to 60 in 5.1 second, quarter mile in 13.7. You've got a serious performer on your hand. So I would definitely recommend this vehicle to someone who's in the market for a budget option for the rear wheel drive and having a very good performance option with 310 horsepower. There's not that many cars left like that. So it's gonna be very fun to drive. So I personally would definitely recommend this 2020 Mustang Ecoboost if you were in the market. As long as your expectation is good. This is not going to be a GT, obviously. It's not going to have the sound and the experience of the Mustang that people traditionally look for. But if you take the Mustang name out of it, I think it's an amazing car. It's got 310 horsepower, very nice refined interior. The suspension is good for road trips. Overall, it's a well-rounded car that you can easily have fun with and still have decent gas mileage. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this 2020 Mustang Ecoboost review. If you like this video, make sure you smash that like button and comment below what you think about the 2020 Mustang Ecoboost. And as always, subscribe to Red 50 for more Mustang content.